Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson. We're in the middle of our study entitled The Three Marys, and we're talking about three of the Marys from the ministry of Jesus and the way we get to know Jesus better through them. And we've just started talking about Mary of Bethany, and we introduced her and something of her character, her personality, her disposition, her relationship with her sister, where she lived. We talked about that last time. We need to point this out. Um, Male Jews in the first century had nearly universal literacy, which was unheard of among ancient peoples, but they did until they were about the age of 12, 13. They all went to Hebrew school to learn biblical Hebrew and to learn to read the Hebrew language. Now, one of the reasons this is necessary is because they don't speak biblical Hebrew. They speak Aramaic in the street. And it would be like um, learn trying to teaching a child not just to learn King James English, but Middle English of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. I mean, it's not like learning a completely new language. It's learning the ancient form of the language that you speak. But if you're going to read the Bible, if you're going to go to synagogue and pull out the scroll and open it up and read and know what you're reading, you have to be trained to do that. So Jewish boys had nearly universal literacy. They were taught to read and to memorize large portions of the scriptures. The Mishnah, the rabbinic literature contemporary with Jesus, says it would be better for you to burn the Torah than to teach your daughter to read it. Girls were not supposed to be educated, and yet many girls were, and many educated men looked for wives who could read. But that was done in the home, not at school. Um, Women were not welcome at places of education. And the primary place of education is at the foot of a rabbi. And that space, that's real estate reserved for the male students. It just is. Rabbis are told in the Mishnah not to speak frequently with women, not to speak with women at all publicly, and do not speak frequently with women, not even your wife. Um, Jesus completely breaks those rules. He frequently talks with women, has his best conversations with women. The women disciples seem clearly to understand him better than the male disciples do during his public ministry. Mary in this passage is sitting where she's not supposed to be, and it's a great act of courage. So let's remember that when we read this passage. As they were traveling along, Luke 10:38, he entered a certain village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. And she had a sister named Mary who was listening to the Lord's word seated at his feet. Martha was distracted with all her preparations, excuse me. She came up to him and she said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the serving alone? Then tell her to help me. The Lord answered and said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and bothered about so many things, but only a few things are necessary. Really, only one. For Mary has chosen the good part, which will not be taken away from her. This seems on the surface to be a story about Martha, and it is. But it's also a story about Mary, and it's more than anything a story about Jesus. Um, Martha's not our topic today, and I love her. And I love the way the two times that we have recorded conversations between her and Jesus, she's looking Jesus square in the eye saying, why didn't you do something different? What, do something different than what you're doing, you know? Um, and she knows who he is. And she has that confidence of relationship that she can look him square in the eye and speak to him that way. Martha didn't say anything. She just sat down where she was not welcomed by anyone else but Jesus. But he's the one who mattered. And we know that he made her feel welcome there. A glance exchanged between them, maybe, He saw her listening intently, and he motioned for her to sit down. Maybe he told Peter to scoot over a little bit to give her space. Nobody would have been happy about this. Nobody. Not one of the apostles, not one of the disciples around, and least of all her sister, who feels like she's shirking her duties and lollygagging in a place she was not supposed to be. But she, either because of the magnetism of Jesus or because she understands fully who he is, she has the bravery to create a space for herself that no one else wants her to have, no one but Jesus. And she takes that space, and Jesus welcomes her into that space. And because she has taken it, Jesus now has opportunity to invite Martha into the same space and to say, no, no, no. I appreciate what you're doing. I get it. But this is temporary. What Mary has chosen will never be taken from her. And she's chosen the best part. So why don't you sit down for a little bit too and listen to what I'm about to say? It's just a wonderful, wonderful vignette into the daily life of Jesus. This isn't him facing anybody down in the synagogue or raising a dead person. This is just something very quiet. It's a moment in somebody's home. The home would not have been very big. The room wouldn't have been any bigger than maybe 23 feet square. The people, packed in it. And we have this moment that Mary makes possible for us because her relationship with Jesus teaches us all something about our relationship with Jesus. And it's that our place is supposed to be right there at his feet, listening to what he has to say. And we shouldn't let anything else get in the way of that. Okay. Next time we're together, we're going to be in John 11, and it's going to be much later. And Mary and Martha's beloved brother Lazarus has died. Okay, we'll pick up in John 11 next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.